Welcome to Tone Talks. Welcome to Tone Talks. Welcome to Tone Talks. Welcome to.
What up, y'all? Tone Talks in the building. It's Friday again. We in here. We gonna have a good discussion. You know, it's been a busy week. I'm gonna talk about a lot of stuff. I'm probably not gonna take too many calls because I got a lot to get through. I want to get through three major kind of areas. Let's turn that beat up a little bit. I definitely want to get into this NFL kneeling. Kind of connects to the last show. Those people that weren't around, we did the whole Colin Kaepernick, LeBron James school. You know, we started this discussion. Preseason here, they hit that knee. Shout out to the brothers that did that. But we going to give it some context. I want to talk about this NCAA bribery scandal. You know I want to talk about that. And then I want to do some Q&A from YouTube because I get the craziest comments. Tell them, when you going to give me a solution? When you going to make me not come from slavery? Can't do that, bro. Not during wealth calcification. We'll get into it. I'll explain. So this is Dash Radio, Dash Talk X. Appreciate everybody tuning in. It's Friday, late on the East, after work on the West. We gonna have a powerful dialogue over the next hour about sports, about race, about economics, and how all those things come together. You know, we covering these three different areas. I hope y'all ride with me as we talk about it. So let's just get right into it. You know, in a lot of instances, what I feel like happens is we don't understand it. You know, we talked about it. My fans understand it. Go look up the Decadent Veil. This is the Decadent Veil. You can't be part of the Decadent Veil and want to protest. Am I saying that I don't understand them protesting? Nah, but I don't think they understand. That means it's over. White people ain't finna be watching nobody protesting and watching them tackle. They watching y'all to get away from this real. Uh-oh. I told Kaepernick in my piece on the Griot, you can't be part of the circus. You can't be the ringleader and then want to tell people that the circus is messed up. This is bread and circus. We give them circus because ain't no bread. And in the bottom 90, ain't no bread. Bottom 90% of America. So we give them football. And am I saying that I don't commend him for kneeling? Nah, I'm not. But you ain't gonna play football no more. Come on. We gonna see what them ratings do this year. But we gonna have this dialogue today. And I'm gonna give y'all my opinion on a lot of these articles that's been coming out. Give y'all that real, that authentic coming out of Los Angeles. Let's just start off just straight off the top and give you some cap. So Kaepernick spoke last year about why he kneeled. He gave the whole little media one-time statement. It was powerful. I want to play about 4 minutes of that with y'all, and we'll be right back on the other side. Dash Radio, Dash Talk X.
What are you trying to accomplish? What would you like this to be the end game for you?
That's basically. Ultimately, it's to bring awareness and make people, realize what's really going on in this country. There are a lot of things that are going on that are unjust. People aren't being held accountable for, and that's something that needs to change. That's something that, this country stands for: freedom, liberty, justice for all, and it's not happening for all right now.
Is this something that's evolved as a philosophy in your mind, and how has this kind of progressed that you make a stand like this?
It's something that I've seen, I've felt, wasn't quite sure how to deal with originally, and it is something that's evolved. It's something, as I've gained more knowledge about, what's going on in this country in the past, what's going on currently. These aren't new situations. This isn't new ground. It's things that have gone on in this country for years and years and have never been addressed, and they need to be.
Will you continue, Colin, to sit? Will you continue to sit?
Yes, I'll continue to sit. I'm going to continue to stand with the people that are being oppressed. To me, this is something that has to change, and when there's significant change, and I feel like that flag represents what it's supposed to represent, and this country is representing people the way that it's supposed to, I'll stand.
Specifically, what would you like to see change in order for you to stand?
There's a lot of things that need to change. One specifically is police brutality. There's people being murdered unjustly, and not being held accountable. Cops are getting paid leave for killing people. That's not right. That's not right by anyone's standards.
Colin, so many people see the flag as kind of a symbol of military. How do you view it, and what do you say to those people?
You know, I have great respect for men and women that have fought for this country. I have family, I have friends that have gone and fought for this country. And they fight for freedom. They fight for the people. They fight for liberty and justice for everyone. And that's not happening. I mean, people are dying in vain because this country isn't holding their end of the bargain up as far as, you know, giving freedom and justice and liberty to everybody. It's something that's not happening. And I've seen videos, I've seen circumstances where men and women that have been in the military have come back and been treated unjustly by the country they fought for and have been murdered by the country they fought for on our land. That's not right.
Do you personally feel oppressed? Personally?
There have been situations where I feel like I've been ill-treated, yes, but this stand wasn't for me. This stand wasn't because I feel like I'm being put down in any kind of way. This is because I'm seeing things happen to people that don't have a voice, people that don't have a platform to talk and have their voices heard and affect change. So I'm in a position where I can do that, and I'm going to do that for people that can't.
Is this the first year that you haven't stood up? Did you do it other years, or is this the first time?
This year's the first year that I've done this.
You did all the preseason games so far?
Yes.
This is the first time it was noticed?
Yes.
How did your teammates respond when you explained yourself today, and what was the support like for you?
The support I've got from my teammates has been great. You know, I think a lot of my teammates come from areas where this might be a situation. Their families might be put in this situation. It's something that I've had a lot of people come up to me and say, you know, I really respect you for what you're doing and what you're standing for. So to me, that's something that I know what I'm doing what's right, and I know other people see what I'm doing is right. It's something that we have to come together, we have to unite, we have to unify and make a change.
So yeah, man, shout out to Cap for doing that. I commend him for taking the knee, but I don't know if he fully grasped what his role was, as so many of these athletes do, in my mind. I don't have any kind of document out of the NBA or the NCAA or Capital at large that says this is the role, but I think in many ways it is the role. Like, your job is to keep everybody else calm, like I just said last week. Or actually, I said earlier this week on another video that I did, you know, what's going to happen to black wealth in the 21st century. What I think is lost is the amount of black male homelessness all across this country. You know, I just came from Philly. I ain't seen nothing but black males on the streets, homeless. Downtown, not like in the ghettos. You see this downtown LA. You see this in Louisville. I don't think we ready to deal with the fact we kind of made it all an erasure. Like, these men must have just all done something wrong. Well, they did something all right. They was born black and male. But it's all made okay because of these football players and these basketball players. I did the piece on Vice. We shared it last week. Football's war on the minds of black men. Vice came to me, asked me to write a piece. One of the things that I show is 70% of the league is black male. Black males, like adult black males, are like 6% of this country. 6, that's it. But 70% of football, running around tackling and jumping on the ground, same group that come from slaves. Do we understand this? Do we understand CTE? Are we ready to accept the reality of what we need from football to make America okay again? Come on. We talking about making America great again. We need to make America okay again so we all comfortable when we go home at night and put ourselves in our sheets and covers. I'm coming to you, and I'm going to be talking about different articles on the YouTube version. I'll probably pull these articles up so you can go look at them, read on your own. But again, this is Dash Radio, Dash Talk X. It's also streaming on YouTube. Please go to YouTube, Tone Talks. There's a whole dialogue going, chat. They be in there going back and forth, building, breaking things down. Use the super chat. Support this channel. Thank you so much if you do. But let me start with this first article. You know, it's from CBS News, and it's titled NFL Players Raise Fist, Kneel, and Stay Off Field During National Anthem. Player demonstrations took place during the National Anthem at several early NFL preseason games Thursday night. This is just this recent Thursday. And Philadelphia Eagles safety Malcolm Jenkins, and I believe he's like head of the NFL Players Union or something of the sort, and cornerback Devontae Busby raised their fist during the National Anthem, and defensive end Chris Long placed his arm around Jenkins' shoulder. Jenkins had stopped his demonstration last December. Defensive end Michael Bennett walked out of the tunnel during the anthem and walked toward the bench while it played. It appeared all the Steelers stood. At Miami, Dolphins receiver Kenny Stills and Albert Wilson and defensive end Robert Quinn protested during the National Anthem. Stills and Wilson kneeled behind teammates lined up standing along the sideline. Quinn stood and raised his right fist. And what this is one of the statements. Cornerback Jalen Ramsey, linebacker Telvin Smith, and running back Leonard Fournette and TJ Yeldon joined teammates on the sideline after the anthem. They came in and they said, and this is what Smith said: "As a man, I got certain beliefs." And said Smith, who wore salute the service cleats. You know what I mean? This is not going to become a distraction, and Jacksonville's not going to become a distraction for this team. I got beliefs. I did what I did. I don't know if it's going to be every week. Can't answer if it's going to be every week. But as a man, I've got to stand for something. I love my team. I'm dedicated to my teammates, and that's what we're talking about. I did what I did. It was love. I hope people see and respect it. Let me say this. This ain't going to be no love. I don't think these men understand, like, you ain't going to just be able to take no knee and then this is it and that's your protest and you get to make millions of dollars around poor black people. You're going to have to stand on the side of the fence. You ain't going to be able to fence straddle like that statement. You're going to have to say it like Cap said it. You're going to have to put it on the line like Cap did. I don't think everybody gets that right now. And I'm just saying that when I read this, I commend the young brothers for taking knees, but they better get out in them ghettos and really see why they're taking knees and start understanding that there's a clear demarcation in blackness where there's a suffering across this country like we haven't seen in decades. And everybody is playing. I look at this whole NFL kneeling thing and I just, it's I don't want to call it a love-hate relationship. It's something where I'm seeing that everybody doesn't understand. This isn't the protest. This is the flashpoint. What do I mean? This is just the beginning. This here is just the beginning. I look at this protest, and Sports Illustrated actually made a list of all of the different kinds of protests that happened during the preseason. And let me just share it with you. I kind of read some of it earlier, but this is just actually as a list. Here's a list of players and teams that protested during the national anthem. Steelers versus Eagles. The Eagles, Malcolm Jenkins raised a fist during the anthem. Chris Long placed hands on Jenkins' shoulder. Devontae Busby also raised his fist. Michael Bennett walked out onto the field after the anthem started. I believe Bennett plays for the Eagles now. Saints versus Jaguars. The Jaguars' Jalen Ramsey, Telvin Smith, Leonard Fournette, and TJ Yeldon were off the field I think they walked on the field after the anthem. Buccaneers versus Dolphins. The Dolphins' Kenny Stills and Albert Wilson kneeled during the national anthem. Dolphins defensive end Robert Quinn raised his fist in protest during the anthem. I think that's the picture we see with him with the beanie on. Powerful picture. 49ers versus Cowboys. 49ers wide receiver Marquise Goodwin raised his fist before the game. Those were the protests. The question is going to become, as wealth calcifies, as life gets harder for black folks, because all these black folks have other black folks in their life. When I'm talking about all these, I mean the players. So as life gets harder for their brothers, their cousins, their sisters, their mothers, their fathers, their grandmothers, what will be their reaction? Will it be as easy to be the jovial football player? Will it be as easy to sit on the sidelines and listen to a coach scream at you about a game? I argue not. One of the things that you can pull out from Kaepernick's earlier speech that I played, is that Kaepernick isn't even protesting for his own life. He said these guys come from those kind of neighborhoods. Understand this. Understand that Kaepernick has been awoken to something that young black men that were born in ghettos across America playing this game should have been awoken to. But we raised them to be apolitical, to be little capitalists that only wanted to parade their wealth on MTV Cribs. They only wanted to save their mamas and not the rest of the mamas all across the ghetto. Come on. We say all this lovey-dovey stuff after we take the knee, kind of muting why we took the knee. You got to take the knee and just be quiet or say it like Cap. That's my feeling. But part of it, there is no kind of like organization to it all. It's just basically touch and feel. You got one guy doing a fist. You got another guy on a knee. You got everybody. You got one guy that's going to walk out of the tunnel late. But everybody getting a check. This NFL protest thing is big. It's big because the infrastructure of the NFL is largely built on propaganda. The one thing we absolutely do know, like we might not know if their greater purpose is a governmental like pay and play kind of around the decadent veil. Keep everybody calm. This black people are doing okay too. But what we do know, and I'm pulling the article up, how the Pentagon paid for NFL displays of patriotism. I want everybody to understand two things that are clearly misunderstood. The first is really big. Stop saying freedom of speech. You don't sound like you. I know you think that you sound intelligent. Don't they have a right to do this? The freedom. They're at work. Freedom of speech don't apply. Now, if they want to go work somewhere else or not work and then take a knee, they can do that. This is just the law. So stop saying freedom of speech. Don't they have the right to do that? No, they don't. Not when they have that uniform on. I'm not saying I agree with that, but I'm just telling you as it is so you can stop saying something that literally doesn't make sense. But this is the second part. When you look at this thing, this article I pull up, how the Pentagon paid for NFL displays of patriotism, it gives you a lens into what the NFL is supposed to be. It's a beacon of the strength of America. A country that had slavery and then Jim Crow and then mass incarceration and peonage in between and homelessness for black males in many of these cities where they're like 50 and 60% of the homeless, small percentage of the actual population, where black families are in tatters as a result of homelessness and mass incarceration. We need the NFL to be projected all across the nation and the globe to show what America is. So, I mean, if you in another country, I know not that many people watch football, but they watch that basketball. We'll get to that. But if you in another country and you watch Michael Jackson, Thriller, and football and basketball, you think black men is just like doing great in this country. Is that healthy? Should we have allowed that to happen? Should we be satisfied or even reach out to that being our ideal job, to be part of the casted iron that covers our own lives? Talk to them. I'm coming today talking about this decadent veil. We're going to talk about the fabric it's made up of. Maybe your cousin in the league, he part of that wovenness. So this article, how Pentagon paid for NFL displays of patriotism, it'll explain this isn't always been the case. This whole, we gonna have people wear cleats with the flag on it. We gonna have people standing and crying while the national anthem plays. I want to read this to you. Few have brought up the fact that less than a decade ago, professional football players didn't even appear on the field during the national anthem. That changed in 2009 as the Department of Defense poured millions of dollars into the NFL in exchange for displays of patriotism during games. Until 2009, no NFL player stood for the national anthem because players actually stayed in the locker room as the anthem played. This is according to ESPN's Stephen A. Smith. The players were moved to the field during the national anthem because it was seen as a marketing strategy to make the athletes look more patriotic. The U.S. Department of Defense paid the National Football League $5 million between 11 and 14, and the National Guard paid $6.7 million between 2013 and 2015 to stage on-field patriotic ceremonies as part of military recruitment budget line items. The report found that 72 of the 122 major league contracts analyzed contained items deemed paid patriotism: on-field color guard, enlistment, re-enlistment, performance of the national anthem, full-field flag details. So I'm saying all that to say this is big business. That red, white, and blue, and then them coming out with the uniforms, and we love the military, and we gonna do a foundation to make sure that the military that come home without legs and arms get some help. It's not just like done because you feel good about them, NFL. It's done as part of propaganda and part of a paid exchange. And I think for a lot of us, that's hard to deal with. But it gives more context to this. You messing with my business, Kaepernick. You messing with my business, other NFL players. For all of this that we talking about with the knees, why we ain't asked the hard questions? Why we ain't asked why the NBA ain't take no knees? The NBA needs to be a part of this as well. Yeah, y'all wore a shirt, I Can't Breathe, a couple years ago. That's nice. But ain't nobody putting it on the line like Kaepernick did, because I said it last year, and I said it again on this show. I don't think the man gonna ever touch the football field again. I mean, he already was on the back nine of his career, but I think in addition, he is in a position where the NFL owners see him as bucking the system. And when you buck the system, you show the other stallions how they can buck the system too. I'm here. I'm having this conversation. I wanna get to a point now where I want to play another clip for you guys as I give you some context for this President Donald Trump, because he jumped right up in here, and then we'll come right back.
Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a bitch off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired! You know, some owner's going to do that. He's going to say, that guy that disrespects our flag, he's fired. And that owner, they don't know it. They don't know it. They're friends of mine, many of them. They don't know. They'll be the most popular person for a week. They'll be the most popular person in this country, because that's a total disrespect of our heritage. That's a total disrespect of everything that we stand for, okay? Everything that we stand for. And I know we have freedoms, and we have freedom of choice and many, many different freedoms. But you know what? It's still totally disrespectful. And you know, when the NFL ratings are down massively, the NFL ratings are down massively. Now, the number one reason happens to be that they like watching what's happening on, with yours truly. They like what's happening. Because, today if you hit too hard, right? They hit too hard, 15 yards, throw him out of the game. They had that last week. I watched for a couple of minutes, and two guys just really beautiful tackle. Boom, 15 yards. The referee gets on television. His wife is sitting at home. She's so proud of him. They're ruining the game, right? They're ruining the game. Hey, look, that's what they want to do. They want to hit, okay? They want to hit, but it is hurting the game. But you know what's hurting the game more than that? when people like yourselves turn on television and you see those people taking the knee when they're playing our great national anthem, the only thing you could do better is if you see it, even if it's one player, leave the stadium. I guarantee things will stop. Things will stop. Just pick up and leave. Pick up and leave. Not the same game anymore anyway.
Yeah, so that's Donald Trump, President Donald Trump out here last year laying them out like bowling pins. Now, I don't agree with what he was talking about, but I'll tell you this, you got to know the history of, a lot of people don't know the history of President Donald Trump with the NFL. There's a lot of bias here. I want everybody to go Google Donald Trump and his history with the NFL. He tried to start a league, competing league back in the early 80s, late 70s, I believe, and it failed. And a lot of the owners kind of laughed at him, as I understood it. I watched this great special on ESPN. So now he president, and he gonna stick it to him, and he is sticking it to him. He putting them to the question that should have been asked decades ago. Why should I play football in a country that don't care about my people? Come on. I'm gonna say it again. Why should I play football in a country that don't care about my people? You got the Green Bay Packers with Milwaukee. Milwaukee is one of the worst cities in the country. 50% unemployment, African-American males. That's social collapse. Everybody got a team, though. You got LA. We got two teams now. But Skid Row, 2 to 3% of the population of LA, maybe 4, is adult black males. But we like 50 or 60% of Skid Row. You can go see it with your own eyes. Largest aggregation of homeless in the nation. Why we should get a team? I'm just saying to you right now, we got a problem, Houston. And what we gonna do about it? Everybody has been out here kind of touch and feel with it. I'm bringing the real. This is Tone Talks. I'm bringing the real questions, not just the question about a knee, but the question about whether it's time to entertain or time to galvanize. I just did a video on where is black wealth going in the 21st century, and I'm telling y'all it ain't going nowhere nice. Now, towards the end of this show, I'm going to deal with some of y'all that be in the comments. Yeah. A lot of y'all don't understand the moment we're in. I don't call myself a prophet. I just know a lot. And the reason why I know a lot is that's what I do. When you watching NBA, NFL, or Housewives, or talking to your friends, I'm studying. I'm learning stuff. I'm talking to Sandy Darity. I'm talking to Byron Allen. Talking to the major movers and shakers in America that are black that have gotten some access. So I'm just trying to share it with you because the numbers it's not just not good. We don't have much wealth. I showed y'all the Diallo chart. The Diallo chart shows the wealth play of the bottom 90 is going lower and lower. Black America already lives on nearly no wealth. You have a group in us that lives on nearly no wealth that talks about aspiration through the lens of, I'm going to start a business during wealth calcification. You don't have the money to survive and you talking about eating good. Let me say that again. In America, solid, stable, you need to be north of 100,000 in net worth. That's just one family. That's not one family trying to start a business. You want to start a business, you need to have 4, 5, 600,000 in net worth. I ain't even being like aggressive and saying liquid. You don't know a family like that oftentimes. I mean, maybe I'm talking about working age right now. You not like that. You might not have any money. So we just living on aspiration, hope, and dreams. And that's why all this work, all this NBA and NFL and Steph Curry and Cam Newton and all this stuff works because we don't know how to do math. See, a lot of stuff works on energy, but math don't. See, a lot of stuff works on energy like meditation and dreaming and all that, but the math of living in a first world country that is wealth calcifying, unlike anything we've seen in our lifetime, don't work on energy. It don't work on feelings. And one of the conundrums that the black $1 million athlete will run up against is you ain't gonna be able to be black and rich among all these poor people. See, before in the 80s, it was easier. Walk with me. I did the documentary Freeway Cracking the System. We've talked about that. Emmy nominated. But it used to be easy when the dope fiend was the person that's on Skid Row. Shouldn't have smoked dope. That's what you tell them. We don't deal with the reasons that they smoke dope. The familial background that has all the slavery and the cost of no counseling and no reparation. But you shouldn't have smoked dope. What happens when it's the Howard student that's driving Uber that's your cousin that can't find a job though? Or the second year at UCLA that need that dormitory paid for? The mama didn't save no money, but you the one in the league, you the cousin. But that's your second cousin. You how many second cousins you can help? You only making a few $1 million after taxes. Many of these NFL players, $1 million. Don't nobody want to hear that. Write the check. The pressure that's going to happen for so many of these $1 million athletes is so high. When I look at this thing, Donald Trump recently, as of yesterday, I believe, came back out. And it says, this is an article out of CNN, Trump stokes attacks on NFL players who protest. President Donald Trump railed against NFL players who protested at Thursday night's preseason game, saying the players are outraged about something that most of them are unable to define. Come on. The NFL players are at it again. This is his direct words on Twitter, I believe. Taking a knee when they should be standing proudly for the national anthem. Numerous players from different teams wanted to show their outrage at something that most are unable to define. They make a fortune doing what they love. He tweeted this from his Bedminster Golf Club. So, they went out. They found Jarrell Casey, and this is what Jarrell Casey, who plays for the Tennessee Titans as a defensive end, he says, it's not necessarily about the anthem. That's where everybody messes up. It's about the way that the justice system treats minorities. And that's the issue we have. Minorities. It's not minorities going to jail. Black folk. Some brown. This is part of it, though. I'm not with Trump. I think these men generally know why they kneeling, but they got to know specifically why they kneeling. This is not Rainbow Coalition time. You're going to have to get real like Cap did. This is about black men. Eric Garner, Walter Scott, Philando Castile. Come on, let's call them out. In so many ways, what we see is everybody wants to keep their sponsorship and take a knee. They want to be on both sides of the fence. This is not one of those moments. And I'm looking at this thing, and we look back, there was all these meetings before the preseason. Wall Street Journal covered this some months back, and they did this article, NFL Players Union looks to tackle anthem policy again. It took 2 years for the National Football League team owners to devise an answer to the supercharged questions raised by players kneeling in protest during the national anthem. It took only 2 months for that solution to collapse. With the NFL's first exhibition game taking place Thursday, the league and the NFL Players Association are now attempting again to come up with clear rules about what players can and can't do during the playing anthem, and what the consequences of breaking those rules would be. To resolve the issue, however, the league and players will have to avoid repeating the mistakes of this spring's ill-fated attempt to reset the anthem's rules. That process was miscommunication, resulting in a policy that gave teams, they were trying to give individual teams wide powers to handle matters as they saw fit. It subsequently became clear the rules would be enforced unevenly across the league. We had certain dudes that you got these owners, and I think that's one of the things that really should have been happened. People need to know the owner that owned the team in their city, not just like who he is at the dinner at the gala, but what's his business and how do he make his money? Because I think a lot of them actually make their money stealing from black folk, doing dastardly things in communities that support them at the same time. Now, I don't have no individual names, but I'm just saying to you, you look at the DeVos family, they own the Orlando Magic, as I understand it, or they're tied in with the family that owns the Magic through Betsy DeVos. I should say that. Do we want to support them? They're Republicans, right-wingers. How many of these owners are right-wingers? Get them boys on the field. Get them boys on the field. We heard that come out of one of the union meetings. This statement about these being like cattle. I mean, you're dealing with people who own cows. So why they not going to see their NFL players like cows? I think in so many ways, we want to believe in an America that did not happen, and as a result are dissatisfied when America shows you exactly what it is. Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, for example, has said his team players would have to appear on the field during the anthem and would be forbidden from kneeling. Other team executives said players would be allowed to protest without discipline. The policy was suspended on July 19th, and this is the policy that allowed just random application of laws by each team before it even went into effect. But the new policy, they tried to come up with a new policy, but the new policy caught the union off guard. So they entered the season with no policy. And this is where we're at. This is why we had what we had. We had the free-for-all. This is an interesting moment, let me say that. America's tearing away at the seams. And when the tear happens, your first exposure, and it's not going to be the only because it's white poor too. It's Latino poor too. But your first visual is going to be black poor. Because we disproportionately are poor. Poor after college and poor before it. Poor leaving jail, poor before it. Poor far too often to have built this country. And so I come to this last article about in this NFL section, and I don't know if y'all remember Lou Holtz. If you got a chance, go Google this man. Go Google him. He looked like the guy from that Disney movie Up. He like an old Notre Dame coach, classic look. And he kind of said it real. He said, Lou Holtz blasts NFL players who kneel during the anthem for hurting the future. Understand that he said this July 23rd, 2018. What have you accomplished by kneeling for the national anthem except cause the fan base to go down, the TV viewing audience to go down, the revenue to go down? He said this on Fox and Friends. The players are hurting the sport, hurting the future. You're hurting the revenue for other players coming up. He ain't hurting it for the owners? What about the fact that they actually protesting because their families are struggling and that they tired of being government? Because that's exactly what they have to be, government. These players have to be government for a underserved set of community. Far too often, we don't want to deal with the reality that Black America has collapsed in terms of wealth, in terms of access. And I think for a lot of us, that's hard to accept. It's hard to deal with. It's easy to be a black person with no bread. Let me say this. Let me back out and say that another way. In terms of like inter-family connections, in many ways, it's easier to be a black person with no bread because you ain't got to say no, you just don't have it. So it's built in for your no. Get you $2 million. Especially $2 million everybody know you got. And the problem for us is we let everybody know we got $2 million. We tell them the gross amount. I got $2 million. Everybody treats you like government. Can you get my teeth fixed? Can you play for my school? And what we say to ourselves is that that's our job. I wrote this piece in Vice Sports. I kind of shared this section, but it's pertinent right now. I want to share it again. As much as players, particularly the black ones, are chastised in the media for their lavish lifestyles, an NFL contract is the economic hope of many poor black youth and their families. There may only be little more than 1,700 African American men with deals But that is still $1,700, $6, $7, and $8-figure deals that families and friends of the players are relying on for their economic security. For all the expensive cars and frivolous clubbing, these guys are propping up immediate and extended families on their salaries. As the checks get bigger, it's not surprising the number of kids playing at earlier and earlier ages increases. For too many, this is their answer to debilitating poverty. This is our problem, man. Black America gonna have to deal with it. They gonna keep kneeling, but I think the kneeling ultimately will lead them to a conundrum of a place where the decadent veil will be exposed to them themselves, meaning these players, and they're gonna have to question whether they want to be part of it at all. I'm gonna go to a commercial break. This is Dash Radio, Dash Talk X. Please support on Super Chat, and we'll be right back to talk about this NCAA. What up? We got 444 in the box. We in here on when I say in the box, on YouTube in the chat. Everybody's streaming. Dash Radio, Dash Talk X. You can actually go there as well. Millions of people listening all across in their Chevrolets and everything, because this is in the Chevys, as I understand. But shout out to Dash. I always try to do this because we don't have black radio no more. Dash Radio let me come up here and get wild, get loose. I be saying stuff you ain't supposed to be saying on radio. I ain't cursing, but I'm telling black folks, it's about that time. Checking that watch. Ain't no Tulsa real estate gonna fix this for you. Ain't no Bitcoins or no Boyce Watkins gonna fix this for you. It's time to understand that wealth has calcified and is shutting us out, shutting your families out, shutting your kids out. We gotta understand, because we gotta understand where the fight is. And that fight ain't just gonna stop with no kneeling on no football field. But it comes with recognizing when they trying to get you. And this NCAA basketball bribery scandal that came out, I'm gonna talk about it for a second. I don't know if everybody's familiar, but it came out basically, they've been like creating this whole weird, when I say they, I mean the schools and the NCAA, this whole system where we pay these kids in tennis shoes. And then when they take too many tennis shoes, we just gonna like kick them out and make them seem like they criminal. When all the other sports, from swimming to tennis to all that, you can do all that you want. But in the football and basketball, we're gonna have succinct rules that punish the kids. And we're gonna set it up where they can be bribed for small money when they're making huge amounts for leagues. TV revenue. When you actually own TV, I don't care. You're not amateur no more. Real money is being made at that moment. I don't need to do it again and again to get paid. My position has always been that these players deserve to get paid, not a stipend and not a scholarship. It'd be a black dude that'd be the first dude to come up to you talking about, well, they did get a scholarship, brother. They got a scholarship. No, dude. What they got is something like, they got an extra space. A school got a bunch of spaces. Then they don't sell certain ones, so they kept some extra spaces, and we're going to get those out. But let me give you another part that make it not a scholarship. They don't get to major in what they want to major in. They got a limited use scholarship. I need you to take this refrigerator in class. I want you to major in ballet and drama. It ain't no real scholarship where you got enough time to access it. You at UCLA competing with me. And I ain't playing no football. You competing with some of the smartest people in the nation while you play football, and you kind of were smart. You can't access the scholarship. So basically, you're just there to make the school some money. This is the article from Vox. A dark cloud is hanging over the NCAA college basketball tournament. An FBI investigation into alleged illegal payments made by coaches at top schools to student athletes last year. This week, there are fresh conspiracies that the NCAA punished the implicated schools by keeping them out of March Madness. So this whole article kind of breaks it down. I want you guys to really take time to read it. It's powerful. It's powerful stuff. LeBron James came out. Shout out to Bron. He called the NCAA corrupt. His exact words were, I don't know if there's any fixing the NCAA. I don't think there is. It's what's been going on for many, many, many years. I don't know how you can fix it. I don't see how you can fix it. He called the organization corrupt. Words of LeBron The league never should have changed it where these kids can go straight to the league. You can play tennis. You can swim. If you're good enough, go. If you're not, then don't. If you get there, you're not good enough, you should be able to come back to college. The NCAA tried to make some bold shakeups, and they didn't even tell the NBA because this is just sharks fighting in the water, and we think that they all work together. On Wednesday, the NCAA went on the defensive, facing FBI investigations. We talking about real investigations, not internal audits, into the dark side of college recruiting, and they made some changes. Number one, college players who declare for the NBA draft with the remaining college eligibility will have options to return to their former schools if they go undrafted. You know, they used to not be able to come back. It was just like, we gonna punish you for trying to go get paid. Elite high school recruits and college prospects will be allowed to have an NCAA certified agent to aid in their decision-making process and turning pro. I don't know what the NCAA certified part is. Is that the good old boys network? At least you be able to get an agent. You didn't used to be able to get an agent. Next one, school presidents and athletic department staffs will be contractually obligated to cooperate with future investigations. I don't know how. All this is window dressing. They gonna have to deal with the fact that these kids don't get paid. These kids make millions of dollars. I think by some accounts, a Louisville basketball player is worth like $10 million to the school, something crazy, $8 million. I'm saying to you that I need my money. I don't want to play basketball no more. I played all my teen years and I got here and give me my $1 million out of that 8. What if I mess my knee up like the Louisville kid who did that on national TV? Ain't no next payday. I'm on TV now. I come to the next section, and this article said NCAA's new proposed rules blindsided the NBA and USA basketball. Top officials with the NBA and USA basketball were blindsided by the NCAA's announcement of future rule changes regarding pro basketball prospects, as well as the timing of its sources said. Understand also, they're talking about 2022. Nah, we need something to go into effect like now. 30 days, everything gonna change. Why y'all giving schools 3 and 4 years to get themselves together? These schools don't give these young boys no 3 or 4 years. If your knee get messed up, that's it. That's it. We don't need you. This is a one-sided negotiation. So much of what Capital has done is basically it's lean the game in their own favor in so many areas. In my last video, I talked about unions and how that's going to affect workplace. But you see it here with the NCAA. You basically made it so it's an unfair negotiation. I got to do it your way to be part of this game. Brandon Jennings tried to create something new, and they kind of created a hard path for him when he went overseas straight out of high school. You know, he went to China and then came back. He wasn't the same recruit or level of prospect. You know, I think that in many ways what we're seeing with sport, tying the two sections together, the NCAA and the NFL kneeling, is that sport can't consume race. Sport cannot consume race. Sport has been playing around race for 30 years. And now race is rearing its head, and sport is saying, well, I don't want you to be a black athlete. I want you to be a raceless athlete. The problem is wealth calcification is going to make it harder and harder to be raceless. Your mama need money now. She don't need money 4 years from now if you're going to play basketball at Louisville. And if that agent offer you, or Adidas in this case was supposedly funneling money so that for the school, it was all kind of, you need to read this scandal. It's crazy how they had it all set up, where the shoe company give money to the coach and the coach pass that money to the, so like if you a coach, shoe company give you a little budget of like 50 grand, then you throw it out at 3 grand a pop to these little families. The family's so happy that you gave them something. They see you as somebody to confide in. You care about me. So now when it's $1 million decision to be made, I trust your opinion more than I trust people that's been around for 30 years. None of this is set up right. Just give me my money so I can make a good decision. This is what's going on, is that we seen as cattle because we don't have no wealth. Built the wealthiest country in the nation. I mean, the world. Come on. Let me do this last section for all the do-gooders, all the talkers. You know, Tone Talks, the project, I just want to just share certain things that I come around. So many ways is interesting because this race, the way we set up, we don't really respect academics. We don't respect levels. There's levels to this. If I don't know something, I'm going to go talk to the best in the business. When it comes to wealth, I try to talk to Byron because he one of the wealthiest. Y'all don't understand when somebody paid $300 million for cash for a channel, the Weather Channel, they worth $1 billion. And that's not all the money though. Y'all thinking about this Fortune. Fortune don't know what they talking about. They only have so much information. Just know this, that channel was bought with cash from a black person. Sandy Darity from Duke University, I reach out to him. If I got a very abstract concept, I'm gonna bounce it off him just to see what you think. And 9 times out of 10, actually 10 out of 10, he said I'm right. He might give me a little twist on it, but he say I'm right. Ain't nobody been saying this for black folk, particularly black males. So when I say it sound loud. Because somebody got to get loud, and it's time. Let me read a couple of these weird comments from YouTube, and they are weird. Black people need to start, this is, let me see this, DAB Smooth Beats. That's his name. Black people need to start investing money that we do have into our own businesses and supporting other black businesses instead of buying Jordans, clothes, and other useless crap. If we just did that, we would see a drastic economic improvement. Look, the work by Sandy Darity and Dark Hamlet proves that you don't know what you're talking about. Most black people spend money on like soap and like discretionary goods. This whole idea of buying Jordans as being a black problem is just nonsense. But the bigger problem is wealth begets wealth, and we don't have no wealth. Do you understand that like the little bit of black wealth that we have is basically pensions and homes held by boomers? That's it. There's no discretionary wealth that can be taken and invested instead. And for those people that believe that, then get 10 of your friends together and just show us all 10 of y'all got 100,000 liquid. And that's not a lot though. That's just like every day. Cause like I told you, I'm not guessing. I do data. The Federal Reserve shows us that 13% of white families out of 83 million homes. I'm sorry, 15% out of 83 million white homes has more than $1 million. A full million have more than $10 million. A million white homes. You're not going to start your business in a vacuum just for black people. It's going to be a restaurant in the same shopping center as a bunch of white people's franchises that's been there. This idea that black people have wealth, it doesn't even get supported by your own black people. And then I'll tell you, they don't have wealth. So it's not a spending problem. It's a wealth problem. The next one. I'm telling you, I love you, Tone. Even though it may not seem like it sometimes, we need what you bring. The facts are the facts. But I have a firm belief that black people exist outside of what is known to be possible. We always astonish, we always challenge the odds. This is Jay Boogie. You can't live on feelings and your kids can't eat that. Let me say that again. You can't live on feelings and your kids can't eat that. I don't think we understand that America is in a place where wealth has calcified. And a lot of y'all are living through your grandmama's eyeballs. You living in your granddaddy's living room today. And this is a new day. This is a day where black wealth does not exist anymore. And the only way to change that is transformative government. Now, I'm not saying we're in a place where that government is going to transform. We're in a Republican government. But all these little weird little statements of self-help books, yeah, it'll help you with your weight. Yeah, it'll help you with your heart disease. But it ain't going to help you with wealth. That's not how wealth works. Not in the time of scarcity like we're in. You can learn it later. You live in it now. I know that for a fact. But you can learn it later or listen to me now. That's the only two choices you have. I'm not guessing. I'm not playing, and I'm telling you wealth ain't playing. America is coming, and this whole idea of that we work outside of what is known possible. None of that works. What that actually leads you to do is be apolitical and sit up and watch the Cosby Show again. Next one. Africa is on the come up. So all those blacks that are Afrocentric, like myself, please be on the lookout, because the continent is about to accept us all. Some Afro-Americans say no, but just keep your eyes open. So this guy, born here, descendant of American slavery, we seen the article from the young lady that talked about her great-granddaddy traded black slaves. We know Africa is a continent, not a country, with 54 countries inside of it. He believes that there's going to be a magic self-help through Africa where they're going to look out for us. None of this makes any sense. You got people talking that probably ain't never been to Africa. I'm tired of talking to people that tell me that they African ain't been to Africa. I've been to Africa. It was cool, but get me back to America. I don't think we understand the quality of living here. This is a first world country, the first world country of first world countries. In so many ways, we just create stuff. These are all men. If they lead your home and you a woman, God help you. I think a lot of us have serious questions to answer about why we like to hear from people who reaffirm magical, fantastical talk over dealing with the reality of what we need to face and confront to have real, stable outcomes. This is not stable or sane. This is fantastical what this man said. And that's Rabian Harris. Makes no sense. Now the last one is transformative government, question mark. Is this a joke? If that is the only solution, we're fucked, because that is never going to happen. You the man that made that decision for everybody. We've seen it before, and it wasn't thousands of years ago. We seen the New Deal. We seen Lyndon Johnson stand at Howard and give a speech where he talked about affirmative action and the Voting Rights Act. All this was transformative. If it wasn't transformative, you could still be in slave chains. You could still be drinking out of water fountains that said whites only. We've seen transformative government. You just don't believe in it because you think you can survive without it, and you can't. Well, then suffocate then. I'm not going to suffocate. This is only the first step of a long-term project. But we still in the first step because y'all still got to learn. And Tone Talk's going to bring that heat every week here on Dash Radio, Dash Talk X. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Please share this video. Use the super chat. Go to tonetalks.org if you want to subscribe or donate. I'll see y'all next week.
Thank you for tuning in to Tone Talks.